everyone, good morning and welcome to Market Fatafat. Starting today, we're launching a new show that is a unique rapid fire show giving you daily dose of top market movers. We give you the reason that all of them are buzzing in trade, why they're making headlines. This is a unique speed wrap and we'll be summarizing all the stock action in just 30 minutes. So you can't afford to miss it. Stay tuned for the next half hour. This is Market Fatafat and I'm Arvan Dabash. So let's get the clock ticking and get straight to all of those stocks on the show. We have our battery of research analysts who are joining in as well as technical experts on the show to give us a sense of which are the movers and shakers in trade today. Well, let's get straight to it and begin with that result. Dhamaka. Can't get your eyes off Saregama. This one sure is playing the right tunes. And you can see it being reflected. The profits came in post-market hours on Friday. What a phenomenal set of numbers. Pull up that stock for you. Profits came in at a healthy 21 crores versus 4.8 crores on a year-on-year basis. Top-line growth as well was absolutely phenomenal. In fact, it came in at a good 195 crore rupees at Saregama for you versus about 57 crore rupees. Operationally as well, A-OK. 15 crore rupee EBITDA versus about 5 lakhs. So this time around 50 lakhs. So this time around it was an absolutely stellar set of numbers. Big questions remain as to whether or not the sale of Caravan can in the future provide a bigger fillip to the markets and whether or not we can see this follow through. That's the stock price of Saregama for you, seeing a good reaction to its absolute stellar set of earnings. But let's get straight to our team of research analysts, and Pranay, start off by talking about Dena Bank absolutely hammered in trade.
Yes, that's because RBI has barred it from further lending. As it is, we saw its results where we've seen no improvement in asset quality, not just for Q4, but the entire FY18. And in fact, it has seen deterioration in its return on assets as well as equity, which is why to put its house in order and improve the lending program as well as tighten the reins on asset quality, RBI has barred it from this. And it's expected on the street that similar diktat could be handed out to many other banks. As it is, Bank of Maharashtra, UCO Bank are some of the others which have seen a terrible performance in FY18, and they too are under the provision of corrective action.
Okay, thanks very much for giving us those details. Clearly the stock under pressure. But we're banking on banks today. It's not for the right reasons though. What is the view on Vijaya Bank? And Mubina, NPA was continuing.
Well, yes, and this time they have classified Reliance Naval as an NPA. Do remember, Anil Ambani company with a debt figure of 9,000 crore rupees. But for Vijaya Bank, this is certainly going to, well, for one, definitely take a hit on their asset quality. But the other point to watch for Vijaya Bank is that even after the Q4 numbers had been delivered by the company, wherein we saw a 60% rise in the asset, in the provisioning rather, from a sequential basis. Nevertheless, their profits did manage to grow. And yeah, they are going to as well be hit by the RBI provisioning norms, but the management has said that they're all set to deliver a net profit growth, or rather quarterly net profit to over 1,000 crore rupees by the end of this fiscal. That's of course March 2019. So the stock is higher by 1.5%. But yes, this is an NPA classification that one must watch out for because it's going to have far-reaching effect for the other smaller banking names as well.
Okay, that is Vijaya Bank for you. Let's get all the banks out of the way, shall we? And talk about Allahabad Bank as well. That's a newsmaker in trade today, and really things haven't been going well. It started off with an abysmal set of earnings that came out. The losses widened quite significantly. Of course, we do know that the Finance Ministry is going to meet 11 stressed banks under the PCA this week, Allahabad Bank included. But the big trigger for the stock today is the fact that the CBI is going to charge the CEO in the PNB fraud case, and the charge sheet is going to be submitted today. All of those PSU banks are in focus, and Allahabad Bank, as we speak, is holding on to that 44 mark. So that stock is in focus. Well, the countdown continues. Let's talk about stock number 26, and what is on the radar is Emphasis. That stock was in focus on the back of a block deal with Blackstone's exit. What's the technical chart looking like? Kunal joins in to throw some light on it. And Kunal, what's the chart indicating?
So I think after this, block deal, I think the volumes are clocking at, a multi-week high for Emphasis. And also in terms of, chart patterns, I think it's trading at a, stronger, sort of a price trend. 930 is the most important support for Emphasis. And I think till the time the stock does not break this support, it should continue to rise higher from current levels as well.
That's the technical take coming in on Emphasis, currently clutching onto that level of about 1,001. Well, let's get some more newsmakers. What's buzzing away in today's trading session? Well, JB Chemicals is in focus. The Panoli API unit has passed the FDA probe. Let's get on board Samit Chavan, who joins in on the show to give us a technical assessment of this stock. And Samit, thanks for joining in. JB Chemicals, what is the trend looking like and what is the levels that you're mapping out?
Hi, we have a closely tracking stance since last this income, so itinerary. There's a strong resistance somewhere around 330 to 355. So, and on the lower side, the
we have him on the best of lines. Can't really hear Samit clearly, but nonetheless, that stock continues to remain in focus. The unit has successfully passed the inspection. Not really playing out on the stock price. It's been in consolidation mode. You did see a bit of a spike up coming in, and now holding on to 313 in trade as we speak. In fact, Kunal, why don't we just get a quick chart check on JB Chemicals from you?
So yeah, I think it's also trying to consolidate in a broader range. The long-term supports are closer to 300, where the 200 moving averages, and the last 5-6 months it's been into a range-bound kind of an action. So it's difficult to sort of give a trend onto JB Chemicals. But yes, I think the stock is trying to come back into some bit of shape. If it breaks 340, which I believe is a major resistance for JB Chemical, only then I believe traders should probably look out for initiating long trades.
All right, that's the view coming in on JB Chemicals. Well, let's keep the list of stocks going and run you through all of the interesting movers and shakers. We're on stock 24 in Market Fatafat. And let's get on board Karanya to talk a little bit about NMDC. Why is it in the news today?
Well, if you look at the stock movement, well, it's in the negative territory, in fact, at a 1-month low. But the news that we have for NMDC is on the positive side. The company and the management have reiterated the fact that they are aiming to increase the capacity to 50 million tons by 2019-20. That's a target, an ambitious target rather, that they've set. Do remember that last fiscal NMDC registered the best ever production in the last 60 years history of the company by producing 35.5 million tons of ore. And this move, this target increase that we're looking at is in order to meet the demand of key raw materials that are required for steel making. So that is why one can expect a good sort of investor traction also, hopefully, going ahead.
Thanks very much. That's the word coming in on NMDC. Well, let's move from metals to pharma, shall we? Aurobindo is in focus. Let's bring on board Vivek to tell us just why. Vivek.
Well, Aurobindo Pharma, significant relief coming in for this particular name. The company's Oronext facility has been put under the VAI status by the US FDA. VAI basically indicates a voluntary action initiated. Remember, in March 2017, the company had received a couple of observations for this particular facility, and the US FDA has now said that the company and the US FDA are both on the same page. It's a significant relief. Why is this particular facility important for Aurobindo Pharma? The company's urinary tract infection drug that has a market size of almost $450 to $500 million in the US market has actually filed an ANDA from this particular facility. So the fact that this particular facility is on the remediation path actually means that this particular drug could get the quick US FDA nod. On the back of that, the stock is trading much higher in trade today.
Okay, thanks very much for giving us that heads up. But what's not trading quite smartly is the markets. By the way, we've dipped into the red, 10,800 eluding us right now. And you've got the Sensex, which is off, so clearly erasing those early morning gains that we've seen. The broader end of the market is an absolute different story. That has been weak from the get-go and is only continuing to see an accelerated fall as we speak. The mid and the small cap indices are deep in the red. An unhealthy market breadth in favor of the losing side is what I mean. And it's IT, real estate, auto, metals, infrastructure, all of those stocks that continue to remain under pressure. But let's continue the countdown on Market Fatafat, tell you all of the stocks that are in the news and buzzing away in trade. Well, Tata Global Beverages should be in focus. It reported a 22% increase in its top line, in its bottom line growth. You had the revenues as well increasing. The stock under acute pressure though in trade. So that, what is the F&O trend indicating?
Well, certainly those numbers, Awan, have not gone well down with the street, and we are seeing 25% rise in open interest. Clearly, these are formation of short positions, 11% down in price, and I don't remember last time seeing Tata Global down by 11% with so much of formation of short positions. Also, if you look at technically, volumes are very high in today's trading session, 3 to 4 times more than normal average. Yes, stock is reaching towards its support zone, which has been around 250 to 255, and there lies 200 DMA. So it would be interesting to see whether that support zone holds or not.
Okay, there you have it. Under acute pressure today, hammered in trade. That is Tata Global Beverages, clearly ignoring its numbers. Let's move right on then and focus in on the other stocks that are making news today. And Godrej Properties, encouraging statements, but the stock is really under pressure today, Pranay.
Management has said that they've reduced debt by nearly a fifth. So it's come down by about 650 crores and now stands just under 2850 crore rupees. That is thanks to strong sales that they've seen in the entire year. We've seen positive commentary coming in even from the peers when it comes to pre-booking of sales and project launches, as well as the outlook on not just residential but mixed-use commercial development going ahead. So the prospects in the future remains bright, and since the debt has come down, you should expect that the profit growth should also be faster and greater than the top line going ahead.
Okay, but I think in tandem with what the rest of the market is doing, some of these stocks are under pressure. Nonetheless, the management very confident of lowering their debt levels. Okay, let's move right on. Get on board stock number 20, and that is HDFC Bank, holding out very steady in today's session. Kunal, give us a sense. Someone who has missed the bus on this one, looking to enter potentially 2019. What's your call?
So I think you should definitely hold on to it, or maybe look to buy HDFC Bank at current levels. It's such a stable stock that in all market patterns, volatilities, sideways move, trends on the upside, and the stock tends to outperform. Also, it has a high correlation with the Nifty as well. So if the if the stock makes a new high, then the tendency that it can also pull up the indices higher. So I think HDFC Bank is a solid and a stable stock, and I would suggest that from a short-term view, 2075 could be a target on HDFC Bank.
Okay, so 2019 is where it's at, and it's a strong target on the stock. Kunal believes that this is a keeper, very stable in nature. Let's move right on to something that is absolutely not stable. Mubina, last week we saw Rain Industries only moving in one direction, and now it's seeing a lot of profit booking. What's the word?
Well, actually, on Friday, we did see Rain Industries nosedive significantly after it delivered its Q4 numbers, which perhaps may have come in below expectations. But clearly, whatever it is, the company, the street rather, did not like Rain Industries' numbers. Its press release as well, they spoke about foreign exchange loss compared with a gain in the corresponding quarter. And not only that, remember, there are a lot of marquee names that have been invested in Rain Industries. Dolly Khanna, of course, is one of the most popular ones. But we had a bulk deal data which indicated on Friday that we had BNP Paribas selling about 18.9 lakh shares in this counter at 227. So it's continuing that losing momentum that we witnessed on Friday. And Rain Industries is down a further 5% in trade today as well.
Okay, so clearly seeing selling pressure for the second straight day on the trot. Right now, struggling at the 260 mark in trade. But let's move right on and get the next group of stocks that are in focus. Pranay is joining in to tell us a little bit more about the future group of stocks, future retail in particular. Of course, that Walmart Flipkart deal had a rub-off effect on the future group of stocks. But what's the call on future retail, Pranay?
Ever since that deal announcement, we've heard the head of the country's largest brick and mortar retailer giving visionary statements on the growth plan ahead for the entire group. So, for example, over the weekend, he said that they will be investing at least about 350 crore rupees in this financial year to open up about 140 FBB stores. So, focusing on affordable fashion, since that has done very well, not just for the company, but also for Aditya Birla Fashion and some of the other apparel companies. And therefore, this is one leg of their expansion. They're also working on upscaling some of the product lines that they have to enhance margins going ahead. And the plan is basically to premiumize as well as to enhance penetration in tier 2, tier 3 towns.
Okay, sounding very optimistic about the future prospects, but the stock unfortunately under pressure. Meantime, L&T as well, and Karanya, they've been pretty gung-ho about their defense foray and their thrust in this segment. What else is the management saying? Why is L&T?
The management has reiterated the fact that they're looking at the next 5 years for L&T to take the next big leap in the defense space, and they're aiming to become one of the key players in the country. In fact, in a massive Make in India move, they've also got a chance to produce the quad launcher for BrahMos launcher, and in fact they've already completed the design as well as the prototype realization of what is known as the quadruple canisterized inclined launcher, also known as QCIL, and these will be ready for deployment on Indian naval ships in the next 18 months. So that'll be a big thing for L&T once it pans out, and as and when they actually escalate and scale up their defense play.
Okay, thanks for that. Let's move right on and talk about VST Tillers. Result reactions playing out, Vivek?
Right, three tractor manufacturing companies on your radar, Mahindra and Mahindra, Escorts, and of course the one name that's not discussed that often, VST Trailers and Tractors. But the company came out with its results post-market hours on Friday, and the markets will take extremely positive cues from the company's results. If you're talking about the revenues have jumped up almost 25% on a year-on-year basis. Excluding the fact that volume growth has been extremely robust. What is more important is the fact that tractor volumes have increased almost 39% on a year-on-year basis. On the back of that, we are seeing the stock trade sharply higher in trade today. Market will also look at Escorts as well as Mahindra and Mahindra from this particular stock reaction.
Okay, thanks very much. VST Tiller, and that stock up about 0.8% in trade right now. Let's shift gears then and talk about Ashoka Buildcon. That stock too is in focus today. In fact, it's under a bit of pressure, looking a little bit flat as we speak. But the news behind this one is that the promoters are buying about 21.6 lakh shares. Not just that, it's been in focus of late with respect to the order win that the company has seen, a 10,000 crore rupee order that the company has recently won. But flat in trade today. Time to move on and talk about HPCL as well. A lot of the OMCs, remember, have been coming under quite a bit of pressure owing to the way crude oil prices have been moving. But what we understand is that the petrol and diesel prices have been hiked by about 17 and 21 paise respectively. So most of these oil marketing companies are in focus after seeing a 20% downward move on a year-to-date basis. HPCL currently holding on to the 324 mark in trade. Meantime, let's move on, chat about stock number 13, and Mubina is going to tell us a little bit more about Fortis Healthcare and so much news surrounding that one. What's the latest?
Well, the latest is that yes, while they did choose the Munjal Berman combo, what's interesting is that the other two guys are not going to let it go down without a fight, and they are hoping that the shareholders will certainly come up and propose changes to the plan made at this point of time. The EGM is on the 22nd, and from what we understand, the shareholders move to even remove the board, which will certainly be viewed as a positive for minority investors, because they have been complaining about the fact that the management with the corporate governance issues is still staying on. All eyes on 22nd meantime.
Okay, yes, that stock is buzzing away in trade today, holding out by a good 2%. More clarity is still awaited. BEML, that's another stock that's a newsmaker today. Karanya is here to tell us just why.
Well, there's some positive news flow coming in BEML as well, but unfortunately not really reflecting in the stock price. However, what we're picking up is that our army has finalized 15k crore worth of ammunition project, and clearly since BEML has seen one of the biggest defense players in the country, that will augur very well for the company going forward. And also do remember that BEML, which is a PSU and is extremely big in the defense part of the business, also has plans to indigenize bullet train components, for which it has entered into an agreement with Hitachi. So that is one development, followed by the fact that the Indian government is increasing its spend as far as ammunition is concerned. So it will augur well for BEML.
Okay, the clock is ticking. Let's move to the next stock, Tata Motors. And this time around, they have come out with the JLR wholesale numbers for 2018, standing at about 45,000. And the stock has definitely seen a smart rebound from the 52-week lows. Let's move away from autos and chat more about banking stocks. ICICI Bank is a newsmaker in trade today. Vivek, give us a heads up.
Well, that's right, Avan. ICICI Bank, although it's trading in the negative today, some positive news flow coming in, especially in the form of big funds flow that will come in, pour into the stock. Morgan Stanley, that actually keeps track of two indices. One is the Emerging Markets Index and the other one is the Asia Pacific, excluding Japan Index. What they've actually done is they've actually included ICICI Bank, and the main reason for this is that they believe ICICI Bank is going to be the top private financial company in India for 2018. And they also state the fact that valuations as far as ICICI Bank in terms of price to book is extremely attractive compared to the peers. They've actually excluded SBI from the list as well.
Okay, let's stay with banks. Siddharth, a word on Canara.
Well, clearly long formations visible over there. Numbers were howler, but then this seemed to be discounting in price. 20% rise in open interest. PSU banks are seeing some traction. Canara Bank leading from the front. Also, if you look at the volumes, they are significantly above averages, and we still have half of the day pending. These volumes clearly suggest that probably there is some bottom formation process going on.
Okay, that's the word coming in on Canara Bank. Meantime, Gujarat Gas, another result candidate, stellar set of numbers, 99% rise in their net profits at 66 crore rupees versus about 33 crores. You had the top line growth as well, which jumped a good 24% for the quarter gone by at 1733 crore rupees this time around. It clearly operationally was a stellar set of numbers, and that's being reflected in the stock price, 5.5% higher. That's indeed a smart mover in trade. HUL, and let's get in a word from Kunal. The stock hit a 52-week high. Where does it go from here, Kunal?
I think it continues to rise, Avan, and I think the stock performing into all sort of trends onto a market is a sign of a stable trend. So HUL, even though the stock has been going through a stronger uptrend on multi-year, multi-month basis as well, I believe even at current levels it gives you that cushion, in terms of market volatility and the market direction as well. So I believe HUL could be bought into, maybe on a staggered basis at current levels of 1500, and maybe the stock dips towards 1400 and gives you the time correction opportunity.
Thumbs up there on HUL. What about Phoenix Mills, Samit? Let's get in a technical chart check.
See, recently there has been some kind of consolidation in the stock around its strong support of 580, 600. It appears that the stock has already formed a strong base, and today we are seeing a good positive traction in this counter. Looking at the volume activity, yes, it has picked up substantially, so that calls for a technical breakout above its resistance of 620, 630. One should trade with a positive bias, and probably in the next couple of weeks, the stock is clearly heading towards 685, 700 also.
Okay, we've got 5 more stocks to go. Let's talk about Escorts then, up a good 1%, Siddharth.
Well, multi-bagger stocks in last 2-3 years certainly adding a lot of open interest today. We are seeing 10% rise in OI with rise in price, clearly suggesting that these are long positions. And interestingly, a few days back there was correction. It was not backed by volumes, suggesting that people are not interested when it's going down, but certainly interest is high when it's moving higher.
Okay, that's the word coming in on Escorts. Meantime, Sun TV, and the sun is sure shining on this one in terms of its numbers. The profits grew about 23%. Top line growth exceeded our poll to come in at 717 crore rupees. Stellar margin, 72.8%. Ad revenue growth was healthy, 26% higher. Subscription revenue growth, absolute thumbs up. It grew by 28%. And you can see that really investors are giving this one a big thumbs up. That's a 12% move on Sun TV. Meantime, let's talk about the cement space, and the government is mulling a pan-India petcoke ban. Some of these cement stocks in the news and affected. Samit, let's get in a quick chart check on Ambuja.
See, clearly the entire cement space is in strong under pressure. If you look at the overall structure of Ambuja Cement, it has been giving sharp correction from the levels of 250 to 55 in a span of 5 to 6 trading days. So this stock is clearly poised for a decent corrective move from current level as well. We won't be surprised to see this stock heading toward 200 or 190.
All right, 215 is where it's currently at. Meantime, Ashok Leyland, Siddharth, seeing some profit booking?
Well, we are not used to seeing Ashok Leyland correcting 4% in a day. What is interesting is that we are seeing rise in open interest, around 7% rise in OI. Yes, profit booking, but seems to be like someone is shorting as well. And it's only in future segment. Cash volumes are pretty okay, but future volumes are significantly high in Ashok Leyland, suggesting that there is some shorting which is taking place.
And finally, that was stock number 2 to stock number 1. Let's talk about Relaxo Footwear. Well, it did see a very smart margin expansion in the quarter gone by, the highest in fact since the year 2011, and that clearly seems to be playing out. The net profit rose a good 68%, and the top line growth as well has been fairly healthy. So Relaxo Footwear reacting to a positive set of earnings. Well, to our team of research analysts as well as guests on the show, thanks so much for joining in and giving us a speed wrap of all the stocks that are making the news and all the movers and shakers in trade today. With that, it's a wrap on this leg of Market Fatafat. Hope you enjoyed watching. We have our next edition coming up at 1:30. Stay tuned.